Welcome, Legion. It is, I still call it a Lariat. My name is stevezapf. I am the host. We are a pro wrestling podcast. Joined with me are my hetero life mates. First off, we have Mr. Showtime, Michael Wright. And of course, the always dubious scarps Esquire. How you boys doing today?
Hello.
You know me, Steven. I'm living the dream.
I thought that hello was good. Was I supposed to say something? Can we do it again?
There's no retakes on this show. And
there are no retakes.
Hello.
You hear that flex from Steven?
Say hello.
I'm the host.
Hello.
Boys, we are in our WrestleMania hangover right now, so there is a lot of wrestling talk going on. There's stuff that we do need to discuss. First and foremost, though, I'm going to give a couple of shout-outs. First shout-out is going to be to Coal Mines again. They had me on their show this past week. It was awesome. They're definitely a new friend to the show, and they have been promoting us, and we will absolutely do the same. Obviously, links to their show and their social media will be in our descriptions. Another new friend to the show is Warrior Breed Wrestling. They're a Florida-based wrestling promotion that we have recently become in contact with. And you know what? They seem like they're doing a lot of good stuff. So we always like to give shout-outs to other wrestling organizations as well. And as far as I have nonprofits on here, as always, I am doing the Tap Cancer Out fundraiser. This will be going until September. This is an awesome organization. Like I said, it helps with a bunch of different cancer funds. The link to this will also be in our description, as always. That leads us to Mr. Showtime taking over for a second.
Well, listen, man, can I cut Michael off before he does this? Since we're plugging people, I'd like to share something super dope. So a very good buddy of mine, David Restiano, was just on Shark Tank a few nights ago with his product and company. It's called Source Soap. And it was a great show. I didn't know what was going to happen, but Mark Cuban picked up his company and the product. So for those of you who don't know, Source Soap is a hard analgesic soap that also functions as a Graston tool or a gua sha. And super amazing. I use it after workouts, after running, after working as a bartender for hours. But I just want to shout out a buddy of ours because that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. My friend on TV being successful is great. Having said that, I digress.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Super cool, man. We're psyched.
I'd also like to interrupt our regularly scheduled wrestling podcast for a quick shout out to the New York Rangers getting the President's Trophy, #1 seed in the NHL. I won't go too far into it. I'm a huge hockey fan, and I love the Rangers, so I'm really excited that they're going to take that 1 seed and break whatever fake curse people think it entails there.
Yeah, they just they need to raise the cup, man. That's what has to happen. They have to lift the cup.
Let's do it
right here. But yeah, so it's exciting news. We don't like to interrupt wrestling too much with other, fake sports or whatever.
But let's go Rangers.
But let's go Rangers.
Let's go Rangers. Now then, back to our usually scheduled wrestling talk. TNA Rebellion is happening on April 20th. That's right, 4/20. And the main event for that is going to be Nick Nemeth versus Moose for the TNA World Heavyweight title. Also on that will be Jordan Grace versus Steph DeLander. She's going to have Matt Cardona in her corner. We've got Mustafa Ali versus Jake Something. That's going to be a pretty awesome match. They have very different styles, and I think styles make matches a lot of times. And a couple of my favorites, we got Josh Alexander versus Hammerstone. That's been a hot feud that they've been building up. And certainly last but not least for our favorites, Showtime Eric Young, the original Showtime, if you will, versus Frankie Kazarian. Showtime Eric Young is also one of Showtime Michael Wright's favorite wrestlers.
I was going to say hold the phones, but okay.
It's not where I got the name from. I had that name well before I knew who Eric Young was. But also always rooting for Frankie Kazarian. He was on the independent circuit when we were breaking in. Years and years ago. It feels like 200 years ago. And so always rooting for Frank. He's such a nice guy. Super cool to just talk to. When he was already kind of becoming a star and we were breaking in as ring crew guys, he was never one to kind of be too cool for us, and it's like really easy to be too cool for us. So that was always awesome for him. So I'm always a big Frankie fan.
Yeah, he taught me how to do a drop kick, actually. Well, taught me a proper way to do a drop kick. So I thank him for that one a lot, because I used that move throughout my first 10 years quite a bit, because it was probably the only thing I was good at for a while.
I drop kicked somebody once. It hurt me more than it hurt them.
That tracks.
That's the truth, America. You heard it here first.
So going from TNA news to worldwide wrestling news, Jon Moxley won the IWGP World Heavyweight title this week. That is kind of big in the sense that New Japan's top champions are now Jon Moxley, Nick Nemeth, and Matt Riddle. I have it written down here that this is a pretty good bounce back after losing guys like Ospreay and Okada. What are you guys thinking on this one? Because those are three major stars.
Yeah, this is exactly what we kind of predicted in the beginning, right, Steven? Like, as kind of interim champions, bringing in these bigger names, people that will draw attention to some of the younger talent that comes up in their ranks. They'll end up taking these belts away. But you're taking three guys that have been all in WWE. They've all been champions in the past in some way, shape, or form. And people who have been in AEW mainstays. Obviously, Mox is going to bring that belt back to AEW at certain times and kind of give it that US viewership or the ability to kind of get more people interested in what's going on over there. Moxley's been just an absolute home run of a signing for AEW since he left WWE in general. So I think this is great for them. But these are all like, I wouldn't call any of them transition champions, but in the long term, this is the perfect pivot while they lost all their top names to the US to kind of put titles on them. And even if you saw, I know we haven't actually seen that match. I do want to go back and kind of check it out. But the response from the crowd when Moxley won, I've heard, was a very positive response. So not only is it kind of what we expected, but it looks like that the Japanese crowds are actually digging some of these guys when coming in, winning these titles, meshing their styles with the Japanese strong style and whatnot.
I mean, I've always been with other sports. Jumping ship is not the right term, because what's happening here is spreading the love to everybody. You know what I mean? Going out, branching out, exposing other people to the product and to the company. So like I have mixed emotions, because in other sports, when people leave something that I love to go elsewhere, I'm like, bro, you're the worst. When it happens in wrestling, though, it's like, wait, you're bringing this mixed bag over to some other spot now, right? And now you're going to explode over there and people are going to pop for you. So when it comes to wrestling, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's incredible.
This could be something big. It could be the start of New Japan maybe making another real run. Even we kind of all thought that if they didn't do something like this after losing Ospreay and Okada, that they might kind of topple over a little bit. This seems like I said, a really, really nice bounce back to what they went on with this. But speaking of guys that wrestled in Wembley, AEW had their Wembley footage shown this week, and it was footage. It was something that they showed, and now CM Punk is the only guy in history to show up on WrestleMania, Monday Night Raw, and Wednesday Night Dynamite. That's about all that this thing accomplished as far as I'm concerned, because it didn't show too much difference in what anyone thought it was going to be. Like, we can say that Punk was wrong and he was the aggressor, and maybe he was, and it kind of seems like that. But even the point where we've kind of seen it from the other angle now, where it looks like he lunges at Tony, I don't know if that's so much a lunge as, like, yes, he lunged in the truest form of the word, but he didn't lunge at him like he was going to hit him. He kind of lunged at him. It seemed like he lunged at him like, do something about this. Like, you're the boss. Like, you're supposed to be doing something about this. Like, more yelling at him than like threatening him. So I don't know. This footage just seemed like it was the it didn't do what it was supposed to do. What do you guys think on this one?
Showtime. I'm gonna send this off to you, bud.
Well, this footage was disappointing. It's as simple as that. Yeah, everything you said was right, Steven. The releasing it, I mean, sure, maybe a couple little threads of the story didn't match up to exactly what CM Punk said, but it's not egregiously wrong. He's not really missing any of these big points. Maybe he moved first, but we have no idea what was said either. So, like, without any audio, you really have no idea who did what. I think that it really made the scapegoat look like kind of a little bit of a wimp in that situation. I've been toe to toe in an altercation in the backstage area, and you kind of have to stay toe to toe, and you can't be knocked down or you're not welcome back. My stakes were I guess a lot lower because it wasn't as big of a promotion, but literally wouldn't be able to show my face there again. But the thing that really, really bothers me about this, because I feel like everyone's burying Tony for the wrong reason, and so I want to kind of bury him for a different reason here. The purpose of showing this footage was to garner ratings. Let's not all act surprised that a wrestling personality, an owner of a promotion, did some petty shit. This is not the first time it's happened. There's been way pettier shit done. There is a long lineage of people doing stupid stuff just to spite somebody else. Now, in this situation, though, the main reason he should have had in the back of his mind of releasing this footage was right after Mania, getting a bunch of people to tune into AEW, and he did that. He had over 800,000 people tune in to Dynamite for this AEW show, and what they should have been met with, along with the footage, because that's what it was promised, was an absolute banger of a card. And that's not what we got here. And it's really disappointing that you come out, you show this footage, the immediately next thing you do is you have Ospreay responding to Triple H, which didn't matter. He's not on the card for an actual wrestling match where he could have easily gone out there and put on a 11-star match or however high we cap these now, and he's the one that knows how to tap the next star in the process of this board.
Yeah, he's Meltzer's new boy.
Exactly, but you sit there and you look at it like the Dustin Rhodes Samoa Joe match was okay. They built heat for the Swerve Joe stuff, but it really, like, in no point that was I like, oh, Rhodes is going to win this, and then he did stuff to get himself DQ'd in a match that would have given him a number one contendership match. Didn't make any sense. The 6-man tag with Hook and Jericho was lame. The women's match was actually the only thing really worth watching on this, between Mariah May and Anna Jay. That match was actually pretty good in my opinion. But the Adam Copeland Penta match was an okay match, but in all honesty, I was kind of watching it being like, I think Adam Copeland is like, I don't want to be here because last week I stuck my neck out as a good locker room guy saying, hey, let's just let all this stuff blow over. And then everyone did the exact opposite. So in my opinion, really what should have happened is the Collision match, the card that they had on Saturday, would have been perfect for this with an Ospreay match added into it. And then everyone would have been drawn in for this BS, but then was met with where all the best wrestle, an actual wrestling card, which could have gotten people to stick. And that's really what my big gripe is here.
So there's too many cooks in the kitchen, is what you're saying, pretty much, right?
Maybe, like, I don't even know. Like, it feels like there's no cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like there's no cooks. Like, there's bartenders in the kitchen right now.
That's fair, right? And that never works out. So I'm just really confused because we're talking about AEW, right?
AEW.
So okay, what's going on with AEW, dude? Every week the show's got a different name. I never know if it's a PLE, if it's just like the, for the other organization, like the Monday Night Raw, right? You got, what was it? Rebellion, Revolution, Dynasty, Dynamite, Malarkey, Shenanigans. I can't keep up with the names every week. It's something different, dude. Like, I want to watch wrestling because I like wrestling. And I want to watch whichever company is putting it on but I want to know what I'm getting myself into. I don't want to like, oh shit, man, is this like a crazy like title matches are happening because it's a PLE? Oh wait, it's just Wednesday's show. Okay, what's the name this week? I can't keep up. You guys want me to follow stuff, and I'm like, hey,
Well,
what's happening?
Showtime, and I said this. This is Tony being his E-Fed self at its finest. Everything has its own specific name. If you even listen to the names of the show, these are E-Fed names. Dynamite.
They really
Collision.
are. I guarantee you, whatever Fed he was in, these were the actual names.
Oh, he's actually said he has actually said it.
Oh, okay.
He has said that like before. I think he said it was never called All Elite Wrestling, obviously, but whatever he called his E-Feds, the names of the shows were always Dynamite, were always Rampage, were always Collision. Like he actually said
they're great names. They hold weight, right? But because they hold weight, they should mean something.
But why? But also, why are you doing Dynamite? But Dynamite is also Dynamite. Winter is coming. Or Dynamite this. Like, you don't need big business.
Big business.
Big business. You don't need this. Like, you never hear Monday Night Raw, the one. No, it's like
Monday Night Raw, the quickening.
Yeah, like we don't get that. It's the most they'll do is like, I know they do like night one a lot of times for Monday Night Raw. That's been the thing they've done the last couple of years. But that's because they show Raw on like the first of the year or something like that.
And it's still Monday Night Raw. Everybody knows
still
what
Monday
it is.
Night Raw.
The only one that
follow up with this AEW stuff, man. And I'm trying. I'm doing my damnedest, by the way, for everybody listening. But anytime these boys text me, they're like, "Hey, man, I need you to check up A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Go through Z. By the way, those are just random shows." What?
The only Raw that actually has a sub name, and it's not even official, it's the Raw After Mania, right? Like, that's the only one that has like like a little thing.
Yeah,
but it's less of a.
Everybody knows what that one is. Everybody's like, all right, we're tuning into Raw. Here it is.
Yeah.
And for the PCW guys, the Trauma was our weekly show. So that was it'll fit right in here next to Rampage and Collision. We can do
it's perfect.
Sunday AEW.
So one of the matches that I wanted, that I kind of wish, because you said, Showtime, that if we had gotten Ospreay on there and put on a banger of a match, and I think this match would have. This is me fantasy booking a little bit. I'm sorry, I try not to do this too often, but I think it would have built them both up to the pay-per-view. Is if they had Pac and Ospreay go out there and put on a 20-minute time limit match, because then neither one of them lose. Both of them get to showcase how athletic they are and how great they are, and it builds them towards them both having these huge matches at the Dynasty pay-per-view. I think that would have been the best possible scenario for them.
Yeah, if you go through the actual Collision card that was on Saturday. If you took out possibly, I guess maybe the Hook Shane Taylor match and replaced it with that match with Pac and Ospreay, it would have been perfect to draw people in with a couple of these little segments, move some things around, because this Moriarty Shibata match was good. The Bryan Danielson Claudio Castagnoli, I can never say his name right, versus Powerhouse Hobbs and Kyle Fletcher was a great tag match. This match was so good, and it made sense. The Fletcher and Hobbs were only there to hurt Danielson, to get him ready for to kind of take him down a peg before he fights Ospreay, which, Ospreay and his stable really don't. They don't fit each other anymore. But I like what they're doing. They're at least trying to help their boy out, even though he's not really a heel anymore.
Hey, quick question, boys. What's your favorite type of bread? I'm going somewhere with this.
I have a gluten allergy, sir. This is
okay. Mr. Zapf?
I like whole grain.
I'm a big ciabatta fan. Big.
Guys, love the ciabatta.
Should have seen that one.
You should have, but you didn't.
Oh,
back to Michael.
I'm actually kicking myself right now for that one.
Yeah, definitely.
The Timeless Tony Storm match versus Azumi was great. And even like the House Black versus Martin, Andretti, and Seidel is kind of what I want the 6-man title division to look more like. So like Collision was great. I actually really enjoyed it. It was one of the first like shows from AEW that from start to finish I was kind of in. I still think they need some more help around the video packages to kind of give me a little bit more build. Like Azumi, no one had any idea who she was. She's from the names escaped me, but there's the women's Japanese league that the guy just left.
Oh, not Shimmer. It might be Shimmer.
Yeah, so I think it is Shimmer. Like I think she came over there. They're doing more of a working relationship there, and so I think that's where she comes from. So give me a little tease on like who she is and why she put on such a good match against Toni Storm, which I think actually Toni Storm has one of the best gimmicks going right now in wrestling in general.
Yeah.
So that's what I want more of. Like because now not only did you put on this this Dynamite that was a dud. And then I actually think that SmackDown put on a pretty banger of a SmackDown where there was actually really good wrestling going on. And then after you kind of left a salty taste in everybody's mouth, I'm assuming that the Collision ratings were down because now I'm not going to go tune in for what I just saw on Dynamite. And then they put on a banger. You're just cutting off your nose to spite your face, and it just doesn't make any damn sense.
Seems to be a trend though here, isn't it? Like this just keeps seeming to be what they do.
Yeah.
Again, it's I don't know if Tony needs to be hands-on or take his hands off of the product and maybe listen to the other guys a little bit more. Again, I know we've said you've got all these legends and all these wrestling minds in the back. Maybe let them run things a little bit more and you just handle the money.
But Tony's all about flooding your senses, right? He wants to push everything in your face. So it seems he wants to be just right here all the time. He's trying to do things big and bad, right? He's trying. I'll give him that. Should he be listening to some of the people that have been in this business for 30 plus years? For sure. Dude, take some direction. Don't just try to go above and beyond 24/7. You have to tell the story and build it. You have to get the fans excited about the characters, right? About the wrestlers. They have to buy into whatever they're selling. And right now, the way he's running this, I feel like less and less people are buying into what's being sold.
By the way, Tony, TK, if you will, I know you're listening to us. We're available. Like we're here. We're available. I can cut some time in, make room to work for you.
I'll quit my job, bro. It's cool. I'm charming AF.
I promise you, we won't make it worse.
Well said, sir.
But Scarps, I think this actually you've kind of shifted back to make your original comment right as well now with this too many cooks in the kitchen, because I think that's why there is a little bit of disparity with the kind of storylines that are going on and the kind of just things kind of constantly moving and never really seemed like they're in the right spot. Tony's definitely part of that, but I also don't think that enough people are telling the wrestlers what they need to do and keeping them in line and letting people just kind of go off in their own tangents. Like, I guarantee you that this Jericho hook angle is all like Jericho's idea and just kind of shoving it down everyone's throat. And I'm a long time Jericho fan. I am very firmly in the, I can't miss you unless you're gone for a little while kind of boat right now.
And he just won't go away.
And I mean, look, in fairness, if I were Chris Jericho, or if I were just me, I'd be the same person. Unless you told me to get the hell out of here, I'm going to keep doing it.
He kills it at reinventing himself.
He does.
This one is the mentor again is not really the storyline that he needs. Like I don't know. I can't fix Jericho right now, and I won't try to. But that one, like that's one of the storylines that gets a lot of attention, but then doesn't really come back a bit to it like paying off and being very entertaining.
I feel like Jericho, like you said, we can't miss you if you don't leave. One of the best things Jericho did throughout his career was he would leave and he would go on tour with Fozzy and then he'd come back and we'd be so excited to see him again. I feel like he needs to do something like this. Like he needs to be gone for a little bit. I know he has a huge contract with these guys. And when you're paying somebody that much money, like, yeah, you shouldn't be having them do jobs, and you shouldn't be having them just put anybody over. But at the same time, watered down Jericho that we're getting right now, 50-something-year-old Jericho is just, it's not hitting. And every time he, no pun intended, but pun intended, gets his hooks into some young talent like this, they don't come out the other side better. Every time the fans have decided someone is cool and Jericho's like, that's who I'm going to work with, they don't come, like, the talent doesn't come out the other side like better for working with Jericho. He's become everything that he was mad about WCW for.
Well, listen, feel free to shoot what I'm about to say down. It's a hot take for me, but to me, thanks, Showtime. Just giving me a thumbs down before I say it. However, Jericho, let's reword this. The person today that's wrestling like another person that's wrestling now that really reminds me of Jericho 2.0 perhaps, is Seth freaking Rollins. Y'all shoot me in the foot if you want, but I feel like they're shooting the same types of promos. They're doing the same types of things. They're both great athletes and great workers, and they are different. But the show that Rollins, or the character that Rollins puts on, really reminds me of Jericho.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that there's a lot of influence from Jericho into Rollins. Now that you say, I didn't think of it ahead of time. Like, I wouldn't have called that out immediately. But
Well,
I
you're
definitely
not as
see
cool as I
some
am.
of it.
It's fine.
Clearly, when you kind of pointed out, I could see some of the influence. He has that kind of snarky heel aspect to him, and all kind of some of the best of Jericho I see coming out in Rollins. I wouldn't compare them, and I actually I'm glad that Rollins is taking a little time to heal, not to an HEAL, not HEEL. He'll heal later, right. But the so I like that he's taking some time off to take care of himself and to heal up, and then he can kind of come back reinvigorated and jump into this great storyline. So I'm excited to see him come back. The Jericho is just he's a little long in the tooth and not putting on the best matches, and it's just right now he's like, he is in that, like, I'm the elder statesman. I need you to need me, and it's not really all that entertaining. Like,
they don't need him. That's the problem is, and we need to miss him a little bit. Like I said,
well,
if he
it's
just
like bringing Rudy in off the bench for that one play, it's like, all right, bud, we're glad you got back in there to do it, but wait a little bit. Take a breather.
Not just that, we were up by 35 points.
Like, it's cool, bud. Hold on. Pump the brakes.
Like, when you look at the, we're gonna go into Dynasty in a minute, and when you look at what they've been doing to build up Dynasty, half this card has been built up, I think, somewhat well, and the other half of it's not been. Like, when you're looking at the Ospreay Danielson, Tony Storm versus Thunder Rosa, and Joe versus Strickland minus Dustin Reynolds getting kind of the raw end of that match. The match could have been so much better. I'm just a little salty about that. They have built these three matches up, I think, really well. The Okada Pac match is kind of in the middle for me. They kind of did one setup, and that was it. Mixed in with all of the Dynamite BS. So that one kind of loses me. The Young Bucks and FTR, I like how they tried to save the footage and turn it into building this feud up a little bit. Trying to make it
some type of angle, but it just seems like all of it fell flat. Everything associated with it was kind of flat, and even the FTR coming out and trying to be fired up about it, it was just,
Well, here's the thing though, as a superstar, depending on how the show is run in the back, right? Because I'm not privy to any of that. As a superstar, you have the ability to control and command the audience. So when something absurd happens, or maybe something outside, off the hip, you have to pivot, right? You have to try to make the best you can of whatever given situation it is. You can't just come out there and be like, wow, man, this was really effed up. We're sorry this happened, but we're going to try to make it right. there are certain times you just don't address that and you just keep going, right? And you pivot and you try to make it as entertaining as possible.
Well, that's what I think FTR kind of did when they came out. I was actually quite entertained by them when they just kind of came out and said exactly what everyone else was thinking. Like it did not feel like, yeah, like why are we doing this? Like what are we doing here, guys? And even like I believe that so the story has changed numerous times in a week from when this came out. I don't think anyone really wanted to share this footage. I think that once it was determined that it was going to happen no matter what, people got on board. Like I don't think the Young Bucks wanted this to be let out, but then like I'd find it's out. How do we make it better? Like how do we turn this into making sense? Though it didn't quite really make sense, but you could see the effort was there. Like where they blamed this event to losing to FTR, and then FTR were the masterminds behind it all. Like I kind of liked what they tried to do there, like a E for effort kind of thing. And then the other two matches in this, the 6-man tag to open this show with Copeland, Kingston, Mark Briscoe versus House Black. The House of Black just, I don't know. Like, there's been two episodes that kind of show that this should be fun, and really don't see the point of this match on a PLE or a pay-per-view in this situation. And then the Julia Hart versus Willow Nightingale is just a back burner match for Monet. Like being on the roster for
I think that's my biggest problem with that match is and it gives it way too much opportunity. One of the things that I know we said we didn't totally love about Mania was the fact that Damage Control just got completely jobbed out by in its entirety. And this
they're tag champs.
Yeah. And this seems like this is recreating that because your only champion is in that group is Julia Hart. And this is probably going to go to Nightingale. This is probably going to set up Willow because she has the history that no one knows about, but there is history with her and Mercedes Banks Monet.
Yeah, well, if your last name is Hart, regardless of your actual affiliation, I'm probably going to pull for you, even though there isn't one.
She's not, but she does cut a mean promo. And like when you look at AEW as a whole, she probably puts on one of the better ones out there. So that gets me right on her side. Like, you know me, I'm not super into the promos. I like good wrestling matches more than anything else. But if you could hook me with a good promo, like that goes to show that you're doing a good job here.
So Julia Hart, for one thing, is very young. She's very young. Like under 25 young.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like very young. When I say young, I mean young. Like she just turned like 21 or 22 recently.
Has her whole career ahead of her.
Whole career. So I need to say that first when I say this. I think that her promo skills far, far surpass her actual in-ring wrestling skills. Now, with that said, I also think that if she decided that she didn't ever want to lace up boots ever again and just be a manager, she would be an awesome manager. I think she would do really, really great things with it because she has an amazing look. She has great promo skills. She has the character down. The wrestling aspect, I think she's a good enough wrestler right now where if she started doing stuff where it was like a Scarlet with Karrion Kross thing where, okay, I'm managing this wrestler and I have to get into this mixed tag team match. She's perfect for it.
I mean, she's only 22, man. Like,
yeah,
so she still has the opportunity to get so much better.
She's not even in her stride yet. She's nowhere near it. And I think
she came out cutting these killer promos, right?
Yeah.
So she's got that aspect of the business pretty much honed, right? To a fine
which
is
science. Almost like a harder aspect of the business a lot of times. Getting in front of people and doing those promos, that's really hard. Sometimes going out there and just having a match is the easy part. And
sometimes
you put her against the right people and they can carry you. Like we see that in other places.
I think
she's only going to grow and get better as a wrestler, right? I mean,
and I know this is a hot take. She's one of those ones that I think if Triple H and HBK got their hooks in her at NXT, she needs the reps. So she would get that there, but she would also go even further with that stuff, because you'd have the Shawn Michaels and you've had the Triple H's and you'd have all these people that are like, okay, well, you do this really well, but if you said this or did this just a little better or a little different, all of a sudden it goes from being, oh, you're a really good promo to, wow, I need to hear your promo.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she would do better over there. But again, I think they would use her almost strictly as a manager. Willow Nightingale, though, is another one who I think that they would get better use out of in like NXT or something like that. I think she has all the things that we want Nia Jax to be, and she does them better. She's actually athletic. She's younger. She doesn't have the injuries that have been built up. She also doesn't have the lingering bad stigma about her about certain things. So this could actually be a good match. It's one of the ones I'm excited to see what happens, even though it's kind of just a match that's going to be set up for Mercedes Moné to go after them.
Yeah, Steven, since we're talking about this match, let's go into our predictions. We're going to do predictions for Dynasty 2024 today. We'll start with this match. We've already kind of talked about it a little bit here and there. I actually would love to see Julia Hart win this. Like she's kind of won me over the last couple of weeks, particularly her last promo really hit well. But I will say also, Willow Nightingale has been great. You can see her progressively getting better each week. So also not upset if she wins this one, but I have Willow Nightingale taking this one down to set up the Monet thing, and I think you're going to have a long run with Monet as TBS title, TBS champion, because I just think that's what they're setting all of this up to do, and maybe Julia Hart will get some other bone thrown her way, or like maybe a clinic with Toni Storm. Though it seems like Toni Storm is getting kind of a line of people behind her to fight for this title. So, but right now I have Willow Nightingale taking this. So, Steven, why don't you jump in next?
I've also got Willow Nightingale in on this one. Again, I think this is just too much of they're going to set up Mercedes Moné. I think that's just where it is. I think this match could be good. I'd be interested to see if they do anything differently than what they are so clearly setting up, though. Mr. Scarps, you're the odd man out, it looks like, though.
Does it look like that? Listen, guys, we already know, to all the listeners out there, that I am infallible when it comes to predictions. Having said that, I'm picking Hart all day.
Scarps,
he's never here for
that. Scarps, that word you keep using.
I said
I don't think it means what you think it means.
Inconceivable. Oh, I said infallible, right? Oh, no, wait, I'm wrong all the time. Here's hoping I'm not with this pick. So I'm fallible. Okay.
The better way to pose this, and you can use this for next time, and I won't call you out. Yes, I will.
I'm Ron Burgundy?
I need to catch up some ground, so I'm taking some risks with these picks. It makes you feel like you're a little bit smarter and on the key, but now
I did get some Mania picks right, boys. Let's just talk about that. Well, let's not talk about it. It's fine, but I did get some right.
It's funny you said that. We did talk about that.
Oh, did you?
Episode when you weren't here.
Yeah, I was working. I'm so sorry. I had a job.
Let's move on to the Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, Mark Briscoe versus House of Black match. I don't even know if I want to talk about the match that much, other than the fact that the babyface side of this, all three of these guys have title belts. All three of them. Not a single one of these title belts are being defended, but all three of them got them.
Yeah, we all have the same pick for this one, so I guess it doesn't really matter. We have Copeland, Kingston, and Briscoe winning this. I think that makes sense. I hate how they're burying House of Black. Like, it just seems like that they're damage control in this situation.
I think this might be the start of possibly some of these guys from House of Black maybe jumping back over to WWE now that Papa H is in charge. Malachi Black, I think, is could definitely be used, especially if they're doing stuff now where it seems like NXT is starting to get built up a little bit more again. And Murphy, let's face it, or Matthews, I'm sorry. I still call him Murphy sometimes. Matthews is Rhea Ripley's fiance. So much like Charlotte brought Andrade back, I could see Rhea bring in Buddy back and that being a thing. And he's a damn fine worker too. So I wouldn't be mad seeing that. That's not too bad, but I don't know. I think this match, much like some of the 6-man matches that we've looked at recently, I think this is going to be a throwaway match overall.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
You know what 6-man matches are full of, boys? Jamokes. Okay? It's the truth. Too much happening on camera. People laying on the ground like, let's roll out of the ring for 25 minutes. Cool. Thanks, bud. See you next time.
Just a lot of shenanigans.
Yeah, it's tomfoolery, boys.
The House of Black had a great match on Collision to kind of set them up to lose this one.
I like the House of Black. I just think that they had this really hot start originally, and then they just didn't know how to keep going with it. But who knows? Let's see. Maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe all three of us will be wrong on this one. This way,
listen. So I did pick them, which means realistically, we're gonna lose this one, boys.
That's fair.
You got that.
Also,
actually, the next match.
I like House of Cards. Does that count?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Actually, I think you may have jinxed the next match, and I'm going to blame you.
Yeah, let's talk about this next match.
When the Young Bucks win the tag team titles,
bro, I'm gonna be so mad. Is it too late to change my answer? Because I'm gonna be so mad if this happens. I picked FTR for a reason. If the Young Bucks win because I picked FTR, I'm gonna be so mad.
You've already laid the jinx, so now if you change, you'll end up being right, and it's like doubling down and making it worse.
And then I'll never be wrong again.
So I just want to point out about this match, because I know I get on the Young Bucks a lot. I know who I am. But here's the thing. Showtime, you don't want the Bucks to win.
No.
I'm at the point where the way I look at it from the wrestling business aspect is the Bucks have go home heat in the sense that I want you to go home. I don't want to see you anymore. Scarps, you're a wrestling fan. You don't want to see the Young Bucks.
I really like the way FTR wrestles, man. I think they're technical, they're clean, it's really fun to watch. And when they have a match, it leaves you satisfied. You know what I mean? You watch it, you walk away from it feeling like, holy shit, bro. I got the biggest bang for my buck watching these guys do their thing.
Exactly. And
yes,
I know we keep saying this. I know we'll always say this. Suspension of disbelief. I feel like FTR puts on a fight. They get in there, even when it's a technical wrestling match, they could be going just hold for hold, but it seems like it's an actual athletic competition that could be that could eventually break down into a fight. Like I said, Scarps, you're our quintessential wrestling fan. You are the guy that the Young Bucks are trying to gear themselves to, and you don't want to see them.
Well, so wait a minute before you jump in, Scarps. I don't want Steven to put words in your mouth. I don't want to see the Young Bucks off TV. They're good heels. They do heels. Relatively good promos. I would like to see them just a little bit. I have some critiques. I'm not saying I'm the biggest fans, but I think Scarps, I'm going to speak for you for a second. Tell me if I'm wrong. But we both definitely put this down because we want to see FTR win. It's not because we want to see the Young Bucks lose. I do think there's a difference here. I think Steven wants them the FTR to win, but he also wants the Young Bucks to lose.
I want that.
Yeah, so I think it's Showtime. You're not wrong, but you are wrong for other reasons.
You couldn't just say I'm right. It's literally my name.
I can't. I don't want to see the Young Bucks lose by any means. But I really want to see FTR win. Right, the Young Bucks. They're great characters, man. They're phenomenal characters. Whether you love the silly show they put on, you hate to see them on, whatever, you're getting popped every time, right? You're gonna watch them. I think they're great, with their gimmick. Do I want to see them win? No. Will I be pissed off if they do? Absolutely not. They're great for the business. I won't be happy, but I'm not going to be pissed off. Do I think they deserve a win? No. Their characters are the way they do things, man. I feel like it's so perfect because it's like Dick Dastardly and Snidely. You know what I mean? They're like the cartoon villain. Like, yes, they're the cartoon villains, right? They're going to be there every time. They're Wile E. Coyote. The Roadrunner's getting one over on them, but you're going to enjoy the show while they're there.
So here's why I almost put the Young Bucks to win this match is because they made it a ladder match. I was really disappointed when they made this a ladder match. I really wanted to see the two teams go out there and really just kick the tar out of each other. And now you made it a little messy with a ladder. And listen, I love ladder matches. Like, that's my favorite type of gimmick. But I think making it a ladder match gave it an okay to let the Young Bucks win. Because it's not believable that you would put down FTR or submit them. But it's believable that something can happen that one of them could scurry up a ladder fast enough, take down the titles, and then be champions, and then barf.
And I feel like that would be the only scenario where they could pull that off, right? Where something stupid happens. You know, it's like, oh my God, he hit his head on the turnbuckle outside of the ring. Oh, he's on the stairs, right? And then somebody runs up, boom, game over.
They
that
bring
would
out
be the only scenario where
pin them under a ladder, and then they go up the ladder and take the titles.
It's like the no mercy trick. You just tie him in the tree real quick, and then you climb up the ladder.
Exactly.
The other thing that I think the reason why we are going to get, all three of us are going to get this wrong is, and it's not even going to be a good transition, I think. They're going to go right from this because having Moxley win the IWGP title means we're probably not going to get FTR versus Claudio and Mox again, which that sucks in and of itself because we could have gotten another banger of a match out of them. The other side of that is I think they're going to rekindle the Bucks versus Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah, looks like they're close to signing.
I wouldn't be surprised if immediately after the Bucks win this match, if the Machine Guns come out and like make their presence known already. Just stand at the top of the stage, whatever it is. And thus all of a sudden we have this feud set up, even though there's no real setup for it.
Steve, do you get mad or upset or annoyed when the Young Bucks come out?
All of the above?
All of the above.
I'm honestly asking.
I don't know. I don't enjoy seeing them. Like, that's the thing is and I don't mean like I don't enjoy seeing them like, oh, they're heels and I get mad at them. No, I don't want them on my television screen. They are essentially a lot of times what I think is not good about the business because a lot of what they do is trying to flip the business the middle finger. They're not trying to fix it. They're just trying to play pranks on it. And at least if they were here trying to fix stuff and they were getting it wrong, I can say, well, at least you're trying something. But no, their stuff is they're having high school bathroom humor. Their bad humor is really bad humor. At least on the other show, on the guys across the street, their bad humor is still kind of tolerable bad humor. It's at least adult bad humor.
I would have had follow-up questions for you had you not answered the way you did, but you completely answered all facets of what my question would have been. So yeah, like
it's just they don't. It's almost like having disrespect for the business. Like they don't, like I said, they don't want to fix it. They want to flip it off. Their whole reason for bringing guys like certain guys in were, well, he's our middle finger to the business. Why are you giving a middle finger to this business? This business is making you millionaires. Fix it.
I want to be one of those.
See what you are doing. See what is wrong about the business and do it differently. Don't do it differently because you think it's funny. Do it differently because it's going to be better. Be better. And
which is what they say they're doing right now. Right? It's where the best come to wrestle. It's such a good tagline, and it really hits AEW really, really well. But then when they showcase it, they drop the ball.
Yeah, not when you put on a bad show, and bad shows happen. But when it's a bad show that publicly becomes a bad show because that's what you're talking about, it's a problem.
Then you put a spotlight on.
It's like, dude, you cannot. You cannot put the spotlight, the interrogation light over this and be like, ha, 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 idiots. Like, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
That's like if WWE had just put on WrestleMania 40 last weekend and they went, hey, this is going to be the biggest WrestleMania ever. This is going to be the best thing you ever saw. And then all of a sudden, it was the worst show in the history of the world. Like, the building blew up, basically.
They happened to deliver on all of the stuff they said, which was amazing, right? That's what you do. You're going to talk everything up because it's about entertainment, but you're going to deliver a quality product. That's the focus. No matter what the story is, it's supposed to be a quality product to bring in more money.
Well,
and they dropped the ball on this last one, boys.
Exactly. Well, speaking of quality products, this is a match I actually do think is going to be quality. And that's going to be the Okada Pac match. Pac, for anyone who doesn't know who he is, was Neville or Adrian Neville in NXT and WWE. Really athletic guy. Does a really cool, like, stalling German suplex into a bridge. I think he's getting a little bit.
Is he the one that does the wheelbarrow German?
No, I think that's. I think he might do it too, like kind of like Gable does.
Yeah, all I know is you said Neville, and I thought Longbottom. So
he does kind of look like Longbottom after.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I mean, he is British.
Even better.
My only issue with Pac is the fact that he does my finisher. He does.
That's your issue?
Yeah, he flat out stole it. His brutalizer is my submission move. It's the Arctic Circle, if you will.
The Arctic Circle.
And for everybody listening, I just want to let everyone know that he has never submitted me with this finisher. So I got that going for me too.
I'm literally driving 2 hours right now just to do this.
If you do, bro, we're going to record it. All right, so now this happened.
Well, this is happening. Tell him you tapped out.
And Scarps is out.
This could be a really good match, though. It's sort of the Continental Breakfast Championship or whatever they call it, whatever they've said. Okada.
That should be the name of it.
That's what I want it to be. Okada gets a chance to finally prove how good of a worker he is in the ring. I feel like a lot of the matches that we've seen him, they're just squash matches, so we don't get to see the work rate that Okada does. I think this is a good chance to showcase a good wrestling match.
This is your moment. Like, if he doesn't have a fantastic match, it's going to be hard to come back from it. He's going to have plenty of time to do it. He's got three years and $11 billion to do it. But, like, so far, it's been lukewarm, him coming in here. He's had a decent storyline with the Young Bucks, but he hasn't had a single fantastic match. He definitely has elevated the Rainmaker a little bit. He's like now standing behind people and spinning them out. Though when he does it, particularly last time, it looks like he was like whispering sweet nothings in someone's ear, like he's going to give it a little nibble, which I was like, oh, this is getting spicy today. But then he spins it around for that short arm clothesline, which it did feel more impactful. And I know we've thrown some shade his way for just throwing kind of a limp clothesline and being like, that's cool. This crazy brain buster on the top turnbuckle doesn't put people down, but here's a clothesline.
I don't know. I'm never not excited about Japanese wrestlers, man. Like, there's no point in time that I'm ever going to be like, whatever. Anytime there's a Japanese wrestler, bro. And like you said, I mean, Okada may not have shown you all of his stuff yet, but there's no way that's not going to happen because, I don't know, Japanese wrestling is just a very different style in the sense of it's all about technical, right? Everything's technical. The chops are big. It's not about getting that crowd interaction. It's about the underdog coming back and really fighting back after getting beaten and taking that punch and turning it around. Japanese wrestling, man, is for me fun, and I will never not support a Japanese wrestler, man. There's no doubt in my mind that he's not going to get huge soon. He's going to have his moment.
This is the start of it. And let me correct myself. I think I have to call it a short arm lariat. Is that
Lariat?
Is that more the forearm? Like,
it's when he holds him and he pulls him back. So like,
okay.
like Jake the Snake used to do one where he'd spin around you,
Okay.
bring it back, and that's like the most famous short arm lariat. Though I've never heard it called a short arm lariat before.
So this match and the next match both have possibilities to be bangers, because the next match on our list is I'm sorry, and our pick for this, we all picked Okada.
Yeah.
So once again, we all have the chance to be completely wrong on this, but I don't think they're taking that championship off Okada yet.
How crazy would it be if after plugging Japanese wrestlers and wrestling, I go, yeah, I'm going Pac on this, by the way.
By the way.
By the way, I'm going long bottom. I totally want the British guy.
Forget everything I just said.
He killed Nagini at the end. He's got nothing on this.
So going from one British high flyer to another British high flyer, Showtime's possibly new favorite wrestler.
Woo! I'm on board. I'm on the bandwagon.
I'm pretty sure you guys spelled his name wrong too. You spelled Osprey like an actual Osprey. I'm pretty sure there's an A in his name.
Is it an A? I thought it was an actual spelled like Osprey.
I'm wrong all the time, boys.
That's fair. I might be wrong this time.
I'm
the one that wrote it out. But
it is. There is a OSPREAY.
EAY. Oh. So we got Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson. This match could be a banger. I think this match and the Okada match both have the possibility of us saying ding, fries are done a lot as well. There could be a lot of head trauma. I think they're going to go out there and both of them are going to go out there and try to steal the show. I think Ospreay and Danielson have the better opportunity to steal the show. I think this should be the match of the night.
They're both so good.
So good.
So good.
I think
I don't see how this isn't match of the night. I don't know if anyone else can really hold a candle to what
they
these
would
two guys
really have to
do.
shit the bed for it to not be match of the night. You know what I mean? They're so good.
I think someone's gonna get hurt.
I think Pac Okada is going to be a little bit more grounded. Mm-hmm. I think it's gonna they're both gonna be hard hitting, good matches. Honestly, the funny part is Okada Pac might be a little bit more your type of match, Showtime, but I think you're gonna end up leaning Ospreay Danielson in this one. They're gonna
what's gonna end up happening is I'm gonna defer and say that Okada Pac was the better match because I was in it the whole time. Whereas in Ospreay Danielson did something where I'm like, well, all right. Now,
yeah. all of a sudden, there's going to be a springboard into a Northern Lights because we've only seen that once in our life. He got
12 feet up in the air, like, holy shit.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more holy shit moments in the Ospreay Danielson match. As to where
the Pac Okada match, though, I think is going to be so fun to watch, man. It's just so gratifying. There's no way it won't be.
I think they're going to go out there and wrestle. They're going to, like I said, I think these two matches both have the chance to be match of the night. I think it's going to turn into Ospreay Danielson just because they're going to go for a little bit more shock and awe factor on this one. But they both kind of have the possibility. They have the possibility to do both things. To either be match of the night or completely crash and burn.
That's fair, dude. Here's hoping for the former. You know,
that's what I'm saying. Is
I want to see them crash and burn.
Yeah, you want to see the world burn, bro. You're like, burn it to the ground,
but like in the best possible way. So,
Pookie, let's burn this mother to the ground.
Man, I could use some White Castle. So we all picked Ospreay on this one. I think that's what they're doing, and I also agree with Showtime. I think this is eventually going to build towards either Ospreay or versus Okada for that title to build up that title a little bit, or it's going to eventually be Ospreay versus whoever the AEW World Champion is at the time.
Hey, don't give away my storyline. I can't say what I have for Okada.
Steve, you do a lot of agreeing with Mr. Showtime over there. When we talk about the next match, maybe you could agree with me.
No, but I will.
That's true. He does agree with you on that.
Somebody will. Thank goodness.
Somebody
will.
So far, Steven and I have agreed on everything. You've been on the same page as us, well, Scarps, except for the Heart match. You have Heart winning.
Yeah.
Otherwise, all of our picks have been the same until now.
Here we go.
So the next matchup, we have Timeless Tony Storm, the AEW Women's Champion, versus Thunder Rosa for the title. I don't know. I feel like they're building Thunder Rosa back up a little bit after she vacated the title. This is the title she never lost. They have that whole storyline going with it. I think this is, again, I think this might be one of those matches where it's going to be a really good match. Unfortunately, this is what, if this is the actual match order, I'm going to say, just like I did with the Tony Storm match versus Deonna Purrazzo, I thought that was a really good match too. I think this is going to be a really good match. I think, unfortunately, this match is going to suffer from placement on the card. If this is...
Go for it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if this match is the co-main event, I think, unfortunately, it's going to be a really good wrestling match. I think it's going to suffer because it's going to be sandwiched in between Will Ospreay Danielson and Samoa Joe and Strickland, and I think it's going to suffer because of it. I think the match itself is still going to be good. It's just going to suffer because of placement.
I thought they were building up Tony and like other contenders. At no point in time did I think this was going to be the match. You know what I mean? So if Thunder wins, like, okay, like you said, man, I mean, back to the belt, right? For me, I just thought they were going to go a different direction. So I don't see Tony losing this match. It's quite possible. I don't know. I thought they were going to go in a very different direction with this story in the upcoming months.
Hey, Steven, I want you to take a quick beat and listen to what Scarps just said there. He's starting to sound kind of like a smart Mark over here. You hear him picking with his head and not his heart? Whew,
what?
That one caught me off guard.
I don't even know you anymore.
It's first time. First time for everything, boys.
He took what I was going to say. Tony's so over right now.
Did I really?
There's pretty much. Like,
oh man,
that's all. I'm just laughing. I'm not upset. I'm kind of impressed. I
ate a whole wheel of cheese.
You pooped in the refrigerator? Tony Storm is so over right now. I think what this match is going to do is take away the paper champion kind of moniker here. I know that she hasn't been called it, but since Thunder Rosa had to vacate the title, Tony gets it, never actually losing it. This is really Thunder Rosa losing the title, like having that make that really official in the situation. That's why I'm going with Tony Storm. She's so over right now. She might be one of the most over people in all of AEW. The fans love her, but they're not supposed to. I mean, I personally gush over this gimmick. I think it's so good. I can't believe no one's done this before. Like, it's not like it's definitely unique and original, but I can see anyone really coming up with this idea earlier. The camera work they do it. I think that AEW's production quality isn't great. Like, I wish they had better packages. I wish they had a little bit better cinematography. Some of the stuff they do with the hard cams and they just zoom in and out of people's faces, but they always get Tony Storm right. So I really think that this is her continuing to cement herself as the best women's champion here. And honestly, I think if anyone's going to take this title off her, it's going to end up being Monet.
I'm just shocked that we agreed almost
completely.
The fact
on
that we
this
agreed
one.
at all is wild, but the fact that it was almost verbatim is something else.
Don't worry, that's gonna be short-lived.
Yeah, because we got another match coming.
We do. We have the AEW World Title. Samoa Joe, the heavyweight champion of the world, versus Swerve Strickland.
Who gets to start this one?
You know what? What is actually? Wow. Showtime is the odd man out on this one.
Yeah.
I'm going Swerve, man. He's so over right now. I think this is going to start a little bit of a series between the two of them where they go and they face each other again next time, probably in Wembley. And they kind of go over this match for the title again. The Swerve, like the heat that they're building right now, it's the best storyline they have in all of AEW. I think it's time for Swerve to take the title off as he lost last time. The fact that if he loses when Hangman's there and then he loses again, he's already lost to Joe twice technically. So then who's the next man up? Does he get punted down to then do a program with Copeland or something like that. I don't know what you do with Swerve in that situation. Whereas I could easily see Joe continuing to fight for this to get it back. Throw some shenanigans at the end of it if you want to, because they're both technically heels, and then you can have yourself a best of 3 or something else for this title.
Well, I'll tell you why I didn't pick Swerve for this. Ironically enough, the craziest thing on the planet is that I agree with Showtime on this one. I think it might be Swerve's time on this match. I did pick Samoa Joe, mostly because I feel like if he loses the title, he's going to be retiring shortly hereafter. I know it's a hot take, boys. I'm just saying, if he loses it now, I don't think he's going to be on the stage for too much longer.
I could actually see that. I could see he's probably closer to the end than he is to the beginning. So I'm just picking him.
Did I say 2 intelligent things this evening? I'm out, boys. This has been fun.
I was going to say, do you have to leave already? Like, is it your right time now?
Thanks, guys.
I blacked out. What happened?
I got to take a nap.
This is gonna be me saying it in a dumb way then. I don't think that both promotions take the world titles off 2 Samoans named Joe in like 2 weeks apart from each other.
Well, they already did two Rhodeses versus Samoans named Joe.
So they didn't totally redo it. Redo. I think this match will be good. It's going to be exactly what we think this is going to be. This is going to be Samoa Joe versus Swerve Strickland. It's going to be athletic. It's going to be hard hitting. I wouldn't be surprised if it starts off even a little slow and then builds to a crescendo. That's kind of the main way Samoa Joe matches work. So I could definitely see them still working that style. I think it's going to be a great match. I'm excited to see this match.
I'm going to throw out a number, 27. And that's the amount of jabs Samoa Joe throws during this match. 27.
Over under.
Yeah, so that's the line right there. That's what I'm
26 and a half.
Actually, real quick, I want to know, I won't call them super, but how many kicks do you think that the Young Bucks throw during that ladder match?
Well, it's going to be less than the Usos.
3.
Is it?
3. I think so.
Well, I mean, we hit 16 or 17?
16? I'll take under 16. Under 16.
I'm going under 7. Which is unlikely, but I'm going under 7.
I think we see 25. I think we see 13 from one and 12 from the other.
How many times can a human being get kicked in the face and just get back up?
And you know what? I'll throw some pepper on this one. They'll throw one of them at one of the members of FTR with a ladder wrapped around their head.
You ever get pepper in your eye? It hurts.
That one's definitely happening. I have had pepper in my eye. All right, guys. Well, that has been our Dynasty preview and our predictions. I have to say it's a relatively stacked card. It's just, like I said, I feel like there's not enough. I felt like there wasn't enough storytelling going into this, but overall, I think the matches are there. We're gonna get good matches out of this. I think the only real story we got, the main story that we got, was still Joe and Swerve right now.
Yeah, so, I think you got the last 3 matches. You definitely got a decent.
We got a little bit more storytelling out of all those.
Yeah.
So moving on from AEW and Dynasty, we go on to the big programs. I guess they would be. Also, a little bit of Mania hangover on this stuff, but the start of it is we needed a new number 1 contender for Cody Rhodes now that he is the undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion of the world, in the world. Which, congrats to Cody Rhodes. They put on a banger of a match. WrestleMania was awesome. I really enjoyed it. The fact is, we now are set up for LA Knight versus AJ Styles for a number 1 contenders match. I'll start with, You know what? I'm going to start with Scarps on this one. I was going to start with Showtime. I'm going to go with Scarps. Scarps, which one of these two guys do you think takes it?
So I know everybody else is. Well, I know what Showtime's gonna say. So I'm gonna go AJ Styles, because I know he's popping for LA Knight. I'm just gonna pick AJ, man, because I tend to stick with the choices that I make in life. I don't flim flam or flip flop like Mr. Showtime. So I'm gonna stick with AJ with this one.
Scarps, when you're wrong, you're wrong.
Yeah,
So I'm with you. I'm going AJ as well.
Damn it.
I think that this is, LA Knight's is a face right now. AJ's a heel, goes better with against Cody. I think that you are also seeing AJ kind of do some of his last laps, so giving him a nice title shot against Cody. I think they could put on a fantastic match. It's a nice little spotlight that they get there. So I think that he wins this. Plus, I don't think you have AJ lose to LA Knight this quickly after losing to LA Knight. So that's so I'm going to go with AJ there.
And I round out the trifecta because I also think it's going to be AJ Styles for all the reasons that both of you guys just said. I think AJ Styles is rounding out this final thing, kind of how Scarp said we might be a little closer for Joe's end than the beginning. I think it's the same thing with AJ. I think that we will get a banger of a match. I think it's the fact that AJ and Cody have never wrestled before, and they also have that nice little nod of both being former NWA World Heavyweight Champions. I think that's,
and I think they'll mention that too.
They have to mention it, right? Like it's it's the only way to build up the story the best way they can.
Well, you know what? Go for it.
I really like the build up to these matches too, where they did the 3 matches. Though I was like, those matches were really good until the shenanigans happened with the first one. I actually found myself rooting for Bobby Lashley in that first match because he was putting on a great match with LA Knight and the other guys. Not Andrade, it's the other guy. The 3 of them put on El Fantasmo.
Yeah.
So the 3 of them were putting on a great match. Lashley was standing out in my opinion between throughout the 3 of them until you had the Apes of Pain or the
Authors of
not
Pain.
LWO. No, Authors of Pain didn't come out. Sorry, I misspoke.
Oh,
the Street Profits and the guys from the LWO or not LWO come out, and so they all kind of came in and kind of messed up the end of that match, and then LA Knight came out and won it. Yeah. And then the main event with AJ, Mysterio, and Kevin Owens was a great match too. Like
great match.
That's why I thought SmackDown ate Dynamite's lunch, because Dynamite brought everybody in for all these promos and then didn't put on good wrestling matches. And then SmackDown went into a wrestling clinic, which I was like, oh, okay, now it's Bizarro World.
And not just a great wrestling show, like not just a show with great matches. They had good storytelling in this one because we get the debut of Tama Tonga, the son of Haku. This is big. They beat the dog crap out of Jimmy Uso, and
poor Jimmy.
And this is definitely setting up what looks like Bloodline versus Bloodline. I mean, maybe I'm looking
Civil War.
Maybe I'm looking too much into this, but it seems like because Roman already named Solo as the guy that was supposed to be the next tribal chief. So maybe Solo seeing this as, well, you lost. Now it's my time. Get out of the way, old man.
Or they do something completely off book and just create a character like Samurai Jack and have him go up against the son of Haku. Think about it. If you've seen the show, it makes sense, guys. It's fine.
I swear it makes sense. I've heard this this theory around the Civil War. We're just going to rip off all Marvel for the Bloodline things now.
Why not?
And it was good. You run out of ideas after a while.
They both draw money.
Fair enough. I've also heard that The Rock is the real tribal chief, and he's the one that ordered Solo to do this. So we'll see what ends up coming down the pike from this one. I feel bad for Jimmy Uso. I really don't think he deserved what he got over since Mania. Like, I went on my own little rant when we did the Mania recap, and I don't think he should have gotten buried the way he was. And then the next time we see him, he gets a chair wrapped around his head and just flattened.
Destroyed.
I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, but now he's on the shelf for a while. I guess this is setting up a USO reunion, whatever we're gonna end up doing if we ever see him again, because kayfabe, and we'll kind of go from there. So, like, I liked Tama Tonga's debut. I like that you're trying to make Solo Sikoa fearful again. I just don't like what they did to Jimmy. I don't think he deserves what he got.
I've also heard that they're going to be bringing in other new members of the bloodline, which, again, it almost seems like I like that they're doing it just because they do need to breathe new life into this bloodline storyline now that Roman's not the champion. But it almost seems like it might be a little bit too little too late. Kind of how during the Mania review episode we said, like, if we got Bloodlines rules, like maybe bring the whole bloodline out, this might have worked out a little bit better for them. But I do like the fact that now that we're getting this, I think it's actually official that they have signed Jacob Fatu, which
is that official yet?
I think I read that that's official. So that's huge because that was something that for some reason the Vince regime did not want to touch Jacob Fatu. I know he's had legal problems in the past, but judging by the majority of the wrestling world at this point, is that really a reason to keep him off of television?
I don't know if you've heard, but it's a new era.
I have. I've actually heard it's I enjoyed the Logan Paul Levesque era.
It's our era.
The Logan Paul, man, he's growing on me. Like he got a good promo. Like if they keep propping him up in these matches, putting together toe touch frog splashes,
he's
doing
so
good. Too good.
Did you see the height he got?
Yeah,
and the rotate. Like, I mean, that was incredible, man. What? So athletic. There's no way. I watched it. I was like, my man.
Well, we talked about him doing the swanton into the rolling and then hitting the splash on the guy. Like, how are you doing that, man? But I think
we did see if you take too many risks, you're not going to nail them all, right? We did see when he tried doing, was it the flip over the rope and he landed wrong?
Oh, yeah, he tried to do the buckshot lariat, which I don't know why he's still trying to do this because that's the one that they said he partially tore his ACL on. So, like, just stop doing that move now.
Yeah, I mean, he stumbled when he tried again. So,
I think he's honestly too, because I think Hangman Page is a hair shorter than him. Not much, but like it's literally like that inch is making the difference on being able to do it as well. Oh man,
I've never tried. I don't know. I couldn't pull the move off like that. So.
I mean, your knee's already shot, so it's probably better that you don't do that. If any of the three of us tried that, we'd cry. We'd just cry.
Showtime's got it.
I've already busted my knee wrestling.
So that's the majority of what we had for SmackDown. We went right into Raw. Right off the bat, they started with something hot, and that was Rhea Ripley vacating the Women's World title.
Boo.
I literally stopped myself so that Showtime could boo this one.
I mean, that's let's just say that shit cray.
So, I mean, I never want to throw shade at someone who's actually injured. First of all, from the show, we hope that Rhea has a speedy recovery. I boo because I've become such a fan of hers. I think she's so good on the mic.
Amazing.
She's so good in the ring. And I have a problem with this. And so here we go. What I've heard as of right now, there's not really official language, so I'm probably overreacting, and I recognize that. But what I've heard originally, she's only going to be out for 2 to 3 months, maybe 4 months. And stripping her of the title for being out for that short amount of time is completely hypocritical, and it really, really bothers me. They have had Roman Reigns not defend a title for extended periods of time. They've had Brock Lesnar do the same thing. And I don't have any idea if she's only going to be out for 3 months, why they would take the title off of her. Like, let everybody else fight it out. Let her kind of sit back like she did on the build to Mania. Now, if there's other reasons that like they don't want to give away what it is, and she's going to have a 9-month to a year kind of hiatus for whatever that might mean, then fine. You can have an extended period of time away. You strip her of the title. You would do that to anybody. I'm cool. But she's only going to be out for 3 months. They would never have done that to anybody else. And I think it's absolute malarkey.
Listen, I don't disagree, but in the same breath, it's also possible that she said, hey, because of whatever the injury or the condition may be, she may have been like, hey, listen, let's give this to somebody else for now. I don't know what my recovery is going to be. Let's move on, and then we can readdress this when I'm at 100%. It is possible that maybe she was like, let's give somebody a chance.
That I respect.
It is a possibility. The other one, I'm going to give the fan answer this time. You want to know why she doesn't get the same treatment? Because Paul Heyman is not her advocate. Both those guys that you named had Heyman writing up their contracts. If I'm going to look at the kayfabe fan answer, it's going to be, well, all those guys always had Heyman writing up their special stipulations. So
now, if coming out of this 2-month hiatus, 3-month hiatus, if he goes over to her and signs her, I'll eat crow here. I like, for storyline reasons, for something that really makes sense, I'm happy to eat crow. I think it's a double standard, and it really bothers me.
Oh my god! If Rhea Ripley becomes if Rhea Ripley becomes the first Paul Heyman girl, at least the first televised one, please, just yes.
That'd be awesome.
All the yes.
Again, we're not backstage. We don't know what's going on. We're reacting to what we say.
So good.
Like,
she's so good.
She fits the mold of a Heyman.
She definitely does. And it's not even a matter of her being the best women's wrestler in the world anymore, or the biggest women's star. I'm finding it hard to think that she's not in at least the top 3 of the stars in the WWE, and that's a big thing to say.
She's a superstar.
She's a superstar. There's 100%. No way she's not in the top 5. Like, nope. You can't tell me, like, okay, you want to tell me that Cody, Punk, Roman, and her are all just carrying the banner? Yeah, kind of. And they're all doing great things. Like, again, WWE is firing on all cylinders right now. They are, their losses are so minor compared to their wins right now that it's crazy.
I mean, look, Triple H said it after Mania, right? In the press conference, he said, "We're just having fun now." And he goes, "As long as we're having fun, the guys and girls are having fun. We're having fun. We're taking ideas from everybody. We're going to run with them, see if they work. If they don't work, we'll try something else. We just won't do that again." They're enjoying what they're doing, man. They're bringing the love back into the game. And that is huge. We haven't seen that since the early 2000s.
Exactly, well, and it's exactly what he said. He's competing with the Attitude Era.
But if they strip Rhea for no other reason than she's going to be off TV for 3 months, I reiterate my stance of boo.
So
fair enough.
Coming off of that, Rhea vacating the title, that kind of goes right into, are we turning Liv Morgan heel? This is very heel actions, right? Like, hey, I did this. I'm whining about the fact that you took this away. Again, this sounds very much like how Rollins was going into this. It's like the worst aspect of what Drew McIntyre was doing. It's the stuff that wasn't the babyface stuff. Her just complaining about being taken off television, or this happening, or that happening, and even complaining that the fans didn't care when she was off screen. That's all heel stuff.
I mean, she was great on My Name is Earl. Oh, that was Jamie Presley. I'm sorry.
She's not Jamie Presley.
Forgive me. Let's try again.
Yeah, I think they are turning her heel. I think that's what we're seeing in real time. I'm not quite sure. Like, I'm not quite sure why. Like, there's not a ton of female faces right now. Like, because I'm assuming that they're going to put her up against Nia Jax right away for this title.
That's what it looks like.
And like, Nia is clearly a heel. I can't see how she could be a face right now. If she's a face, she just becomes Willow Nightingale. So like, but what do we do in this moment in time? Making her heel, just, I don't know, falls a little flat for me. I assume that they're going to put the title on Liv Morgan until Rhea comes back, and then Rhea's going to rip her to pieces.
Either that, or they're going to do something really, really dumb, and I hope they don't do this.
Put on Tiff.
No.
Make her fight.
No,
Actually, if they put it on Tiffany Stratton, actually, I'd be in for that. I'd be okay with that, even though it's kind of an early push. I would be fine with that. Just especially if it was something where there was a tournament or something that they're doing that builds into the match. What I'm worried about is that they're going to put this belt on Jade Cargill.
No. They're going to put the tag team titles on her. I don't think they're going to do that.
Why would you be worried about that?
Because
she's not ready.
She's not ready. She's
okay,
not ready.
That's fair. I'm just saying she's an absolute specimen.
So
dude.
she is a
100%.
specimen. But there are certain things that I'm looking at with Jade that I need certain things to be different. I need comfort levels to be there, and she doesn't have them. And I don't just mean comfort levels in the ring. You can see the difference between her being on the big stage of WWE versus a relatively large stage of AEW. She looks like she doesn't feel comfortable in her own star power. Like she doesn't project the star power that I need her to.
I'm really excited to see what she's gonna do, bro.
So I'm excited to see what she can do. The thing is she's just not there right now, and she still has. I think she really needs to sit at the learning tree of like the Shawn Michaels and the Triple H's and even the CM Punks, and like, hey, you are this person. I need you to be this person. I think she does have it. I think
she's got the potential to be the superstar.
That's what I mean. And I would love if Jade seized all of her potential. I would absolutely love to see Jade versus Rhea. The thing is, though, I need her to actually seize that potential rather than Showtime. How many times have we seen wrestlers die on potential? Potential isn't enough.
I mean, she has the perfect look. She has everything that you need. She has the charisma.
She has the athleticism. I mean,
all of it.
She's a former D1 college athlete. It's a matter of, like I said, even on her entrance at Mania, the fact that she wasn't standing front and center when they were walking down, it's things like that. I need her to do those things. I need her to seize the star power.
She came out looking like Storm from the X-Men, bro. Like, come on.
That's her thing.
You want to talk about just pulling on all the heartstrings from our childhood.
Oh, I agree.
Awesome.
That's the thing is, I'm not disagreeing with you. But the fact of the matter is if you look at her, and I know me and Showtime always make this joke, I make the comparison to Carmelo Hayes who's coming up from NXT. It's like when they do the double biceps, they think that like just by doing it, they're making their arms look bigger type of thing. Like they both do it. And Jade looks phenomenal, but when that's the only move in your walkout repertoire and you're standing next to Bianca Belair and Naomi, you need more. And she could have done nothing, but so long as she was standing in the center.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Yes.
Do it.
That's what Lex Luger did every time he came out.
And that's why he was a huge disappointment.
Every time he came out.
But if Luger came out and he was supposed to be the biggest star amongst, let's say it was Luger and two upper mid-card guys. Okay, I'll use one of Showtime's favorite guys. When it was Luger and Buff Bagwell and let's say Shane Douglas, who's one of my favorite guys when they did that new breed stuff. Luger stood in the center. Luger was the guy who was the star. Luger stood out in that aspect. They understood that. I needed Jade in the center of everything. And it's little thing I can bypass her not being the world's greatest wrestler. I need her to be the world's biggest star.
Yeah, and actually I think Luger's a perfect comparison to this because if you looked at Luger and like what he brought to the table, his wrestling style and everything else, he should have been the top of a promotion for a really nice long run. And he never really does that. He never takes the spotlight and runs with it. He's been champion, of course. Jade, no matter how good or bad Jade ends up being, she'll get a championship run, like very similar. But he never had that long. He could have had like Goldberg run, because of the way he looked, and never did. And look at how good Goldberg was actually in the ring. And that's what I see what they're doing with Jade right now. Is kind of the Goldberg treatment. She goes out there, throws about 6 moves, ends it with that I'm licking my finger weird pen thing. I know it's right. I don't mean to throw shade at that. It's cool, but it really is. I mean, whatever. It's fun. I get it. Do you? I'm not critiquing that, but they're letting her do these few little things that they know she does really well. And she needs to continue to listen to the trainers in the back, continue to get her skill level up to where it needs to be. And that's why I think they're going to put her in a tag clinic with Bianca Belair, because Bianca Belair has the skill. She is already a superstar. And even just wrestling in the same ring as her is going to up her wrestling acumen and Jade's wrestling acumen. And then it's going to take her to help her get to the next level of things. And then honestly, they'll probably do a blow-off feud where they stop working well together. I think you're going to see these two come together and absolutely decimate the Kabuki Warriors, take those tag team titles, and kind of see what happens next. You kind of see the women's tag team division starting to accumulate some names, but none of them are devastating names. They're just there to just get absolutely housed by these two women.
And they probably will, especially since Bianca and Jade are bigger than all of the tag teams when you put their weight combined, just one of them.
And they're fast, bro. Like they're agile.
They're both major athletes. Like that's the thing is
total package.
So what is it? Bianca was LSU, right? I think she's an LSU track and field star. And then Jade was University of Jacksonville basketball player. That's how she became famous, is she's actually friends with Shaq, and that was kind of the start of it. My only worry for Jade is sometimes starting late is an issue too. And she is a little late to the dance. And I don't mean it in the sense that she's hurt or she's had issues. If she's willing to learn, and she can learn, but unfortunately sometimes showing up late to the dance is also an issue of, and I don't mean it to say it disrespectfully, but teaching an old dog new tricks is sometimes a little difficult. I don't think she'll have that issue, but it could be an issue.
Did Kane not also show up late to the dance? You remember when Kane came out into the scene, right? Was he not slightly older at that point?
Well, no, because Kane had been around for actually a while at that point.
Okay.
That was the thing, is Kane had trial and error with a few different different gimmicks, and then and then finally they brought him in. The reason why they brought him in as Kane was because they liked him. They liked his work rate on so many other things, and Taker had worked with him before, that they wanted him in. They just didn't know how to bring him in, and then all of a sudden the Kane thing brought up. Like I said, I think Jade could be awesome, and I think she has the opportunity to be the perfect foil for Bianca or for Rhea, but we'll see when Rhea gets back. That's going to be the thing. And, we'll see what happens with Liv turning heel and her possible title run. I think she's the obvious one right now. Other things that are happening, we talked about new people showing up and people leaving. We've got Sheamus coming back.
Sheamus!
How about that?
He looked good too.
Yeah, he was a little. People are saying they're thinking he came back a little bit too early. He was looking a little softer.
Whatever.
But it's mainly because he usually shows up with such a bodybuilder body or like a powerlifter body I also think he's a little older. He's got neck issues. He's got all types of stuff going on. Like it's.
Don't you dare body shame Sheamus. They're getting him back in time for Clash of the Castle.
As long as you don't body shame us, it's fine.
Body shame us all the time.
There's so much shame to go around.
All day.
So, and there's so much because we're so shamed.
Yeah, well, only when my dad's around, I guess. He points that out.
Yeah, Sheamus had a nice little debut back. It was a good match. Nothing crazy. And it was good to see him back. So welcome back, Sheamus.
Nice to have him back. Nice to have him back with the old music.
That'll be exciting for sure.
And moving on, we've got new World Tag Team title belts. Even though I put Tage Team title belts on there. I just realized that. So new World Tag Team title belts, they look really cool. I actually like these belts. I dislike the old belts. It might be a little bit that I dislike the old belts so much because they just look like pennies on or dimes on straps. I think these look like they actually have the studs on them because I hate the Velcro titles.
Well, we have to do this segment in French, do we not?
Sacre bleu.
That's all we got.
Oh God.
I just don't like round titles. I won't lie. I like the design. I dig the Griffins. I like how there's connectivity with the World Championship. I just give me a little bit of shape to it, like it was designed. And I would love these titles. I just don't like round hubcaps that they're giving my boy R-Truth.
How do you feel about the Lord of the Rings? It's a fairly round title.
That's different. That's fantastic. It's a ring. It's supposed to be round. A belt, world title belt, a title belt should just give me some design, some intrinsic need.
It's a round title.
So Showtime, I know you said you weren't as happy with this segment as you could have been.
How dare you air that dirty laundry on this now? Whew. No, it was fantastic. Listen, Ron, I meant nothing by it. No, the R-Truth, I just wanted it to be a little bit funnier. I just get so excited every time he comes out. And it was funny. The magician aspect of it made me pop.
The magician aspect was amazing. We watched Scarps watch it in real time, and it was perfect. The fact that he calls Triple H, I know who you are. You're Tommaso Ciampa. And it's like, can I just leave? Can I go? Is it like him breaking?
Why'd you make the boss leave?
Like him kind of breaking and just being like, I don't want any part of this anymore. Can I just go?
It was a little bit more on the silly side and a little less on the funny side, where I think he usually has a very, very good balance. I'm being hypercritical right now just because I absolutely love seeing him out there. He is so funny. He's my favorite aspect of any Raw, and I didn't say anything bad. Steven's a liar. I didn't say anything.
Full disclosure, Showtime talks about R-Truth at least once a day. It's literally always positive. He cannot pop more for R-Truth.
He's so funny.
That's absolute truth. Those are the most true words that Scarps has ever said.
Because he balances the comedy style with actually being a good wrestler. And a lot of times you get to give the comedy gimmick to someone who can't really wrestle but wants to be in there. And he absolutely owns both aspects of it. So,
and he's in his 50s too, isn't he?
He's in this. I think he's 52.
Still moving the way he does.
But when he was a little kid watching John Cena.
Scarps, what did you think of that segment? I know we made you watch it in real time for us, so.
So I mean, it was a great moment, right? It was fun. Miz being Miz, and now they're speaking French, and like Showtime said, it was silly. It's nice to see some new belts. Let's change things up. We can't stay stagnant, right? Especially in this
those
business.
Those belts have been around for absolutely forever.
Yeah.
Debuted in like 2001.
Well, even before they were those belts, they were still a version of those belts. Because when they turned them into the Raw and SmackDown titles, they were still like black and gold versions of those belts. So it was time. It was time that we separated those belts, and I'm actually excited to see what the SmackDown version looks like.
Legitimate question, boys. Do we think they're going to retain these titles for a decent period of time?
No.
Nah, I don't think so either. I mean,
what do you like? Will they have them next year at Mania? No.
I wouldn't be shocked if they lost them 3 months from now.
Yeah, I see them keeping them no longer than SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I mean, DIY is the new number one contenders. I could see them dropping them to that. I wouldn't pick them to, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I could also see this being a series.
I want regular Cassidy to come out and do some work.
He'd have to switch shows, but maybe.
I need them to drop it so I can get R-Truth versus Damian Priest for the world title. Have R-Truth win
and then
lose immediately after.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That could happen.
And there it is. So going from comedy to what was a very serious and good match. Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable for the Intercontinental title. This match was as good as I thought it was going to be. Chad Gable is this like hidden gem of a treasure as far as wrestling goes. Sami Zayn broke out some old tricks that he hadn't done in a minute.
There's nothing generic about that.
Yes. By the way, Pat McAfee, always gold.
I love the lead up to this. I actually liked the end of the Jey Uso match, leading to him beating Sammy out front, giving that little bit of story. Sammy coming in the same way. It was a really nice one-shot entrance. The match was great, and then shenanigans at the end. Say it ain't so, Chad. Say it ain't so.
You know what? This might be what they needed to do for him, though, to get him. He was still stuck in that Alpha Academy phase where we need to get him a little bit more serious if we're going to take him seriously, that he's a contender, a real contender, not just his credentials as a wrestler. His credentials as a wrestler there are not a lot of people on par with him in general. He is an actual Olympic alternate wrestler. Like he was on the team. There's not a lot of people
I want to see them keep him with the Creed brothers, turn the Creed brothers heel too. Now, 3 of them together could be pretty dominant.
Well,
I've never seen Kurt Angle and the greatest tag team in the world before, so essentially it's the same thing.
Well, I mean, and if they put, even if they put Otis in there and they made him kind of serious, Otis is an actual heavyweight NCAA Division I wrestler. That's how him and Chad Gable know each other. So, like, you could do this whole, hey, we're all amateur wrestlers and we're all just going to destroy you because we're amateur wrestlers and we all have cauliflower ear type of thing.
Yeah, but, like, Chad going full hypocrite, attacking Sammy in front of his wife and all that stuff. I'm interested to see how this goes, particularly because he just lost an Intercontinental title match. So, like, are we gearing up for a rematch? Like, I don't know where this is going, and I'm curious. Like, I'm excited to see. Like, I'm hooked into this storyline. I know we thrown a lot of shade at AEW earlier for not having storylines. Now I'm excited to see where they go next with this, because I can't see how they're just building for like a rematch at Backlash. Like, I don't know what they're doing here, and I can't wait to see what happens next.
So, do you guys think that Sammy has a long title reign also?
I think it's gonna be longer than you think it would have been.
I don't think you think I think what you think I do.
That's fair. Yeah. What he said.
Though I right now I have my top prediction for Money in the Bank winner is Drew McIntyre, but my number 2 pick would be Sammy.
And they're both solid, right? Like Drew, fucking love Drew, right? Pardon my French, but
I want to keep the hypocrite angle up. He really threw a lot of shade at the Money in the Bank, so then I want.
So now he's going to win the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Well, that was Raw this week. That's kind of just where we're sitting with WWE. Again, I feel like a lot of what we got going on right now is like Mania Hangover. It's all kind of building to where the draft goes and what we're gonna do post draft and where people end up. I honestly think that the world titles are gonna switch shows. I think they want to keep Cody on Raw. I think Priest going to SmackDown wouldn't be a bad thing. I think it would be a nice shot of life over to them.
So, Steven, I think we might be doing a little disservice on calling it the Mania Hangover, because like they're doing a little reset for like the beginning of the season, how we talk about Mania to Mania as the season, and I dig what they're doing right now, right? Like they're kind of setting things up for us rather than being like it was so high and now everybody's so low. It's like really they're kind of resetting the pins a little bit. It's less of a hangover and more like a this is the next season kind of thing.
So let me change how I'm saying that then. We as fans are kind of stuck in a Mania hangover, and they are resetting for us.
Yeah, fair enough.
So it like I said, it's a little different than I'm sorry, I worded that a little wrong. We're kind of, because Mania there was a lot going on up until Mania, and there's still kind of a lot going on, and we're playing catch up on a couple things.
Or we're on a Mania bender.
We might be.
I already did that when I watched. 40,
we did that. Yeah, we did that for the top 10. That was the bender.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
That is why I'm currently hungover.
That's fair.
All right, so that brings us to our last portion of the show, and that is Esquire's Inquiries. It's good to have you back, buddy. Let's lay it on us,
man. So, bang, marry, kill. Just kidding. Okay, so I guess my question for you guys this week is, and I want you both to answer, if you could create, maybe not create, but if a superstar were to come into the league right now, what would be the ideal traits or qualities that you would want to see to really make them the upper echelon, to really get them to that superstar status? What are the things you want to see out of them? Their overall physique, what they bring to the table, their bag of tricks, yada yada.
Showtime, I'm going to let you nail this one first because I have what I think my answer would be, but I want to see what I can bounce off of you on this one.
You should have gone first. So I like that. Like, first of all, I'd make it a slow build. I don't like just dropping a superstar on people and making them like shoving it down their throat. It never works. You need to have a good build. Like Randy Orton's a good example of just having like the absolute perfect kind of look to you to kind of fit that ilk. I also love the fact that he is a second generation wrestler. That always helps as long as you don't try to push him too hard. For me, it always goes down to skill in the ring first. You have to be an absolutely good, great, amazing wrestler at the end of the day, and then other things will come. I also think that you need to be fantastic on the mic. Like, I'm not saying anything that's too groundbreaking here, and those skills come with more time, more energy, getting in there, getting to the grind, and really stepping up to the challenge. But then I think that there's always a pivotal moment, right? There is going to be a moment in time where a superstar gets the mic in their hands while they're proving that they're a good wrestler, while they're proving that they have a good style, that they have the moment to drop something that even they didn't realize was going to be that good, and the fans are just going to blow their minds. And I think good examples of that is Austin's 316 speech after King of the Ring. He didn't go in there thinking that was going to blow the world apart. The Stone Cold Says So was just because he needed to end the promo, and he just kind of was like, all right, I'm gonna essentially say I'm done talking now, but saying it cooler. I think The Rock had a really good moment with that when he joined the Nation and had the ability to talk and just say, I'm a lot of things, but sucks is not one of them.
What attribute would you rank? Would you hold over all of the attributes? Like, for you, what should be their highest stat in your opinion to make the superstar?
In ring ability. I mean, it's wrestling. Let's be
right.
real. And I'll always go back to that.
For me, it's the real ability to take the bump and really sell it. That would be my you've got to effing sell it, dude.
That's why I was always such a big Bret Hart fan, because Bret Hart would go out there and put on a clinic of a match. He would make everybody else look good. I mean, making yourself look good, it's actually more important to make other people look good than yourself in the ring. So in that situation, like that's would be my first criteria. If I'm building like a creative character, like in ring ability, I'm gonna get that up to 99 before I go to the next couple spots. Maybe 95 and give him a little bit of room to grow. But I want that spot to really kind of jump out. And like that's what, like, if you're looking right now, like Braun Breaker is the perfect next superstar.
I hate you.
Look, talent.
I hate you so much.
Told you should have gone first.
You were steering so far away from it, and I was gonna say, why don't you just say what it is? It's Braun Breaker.
As soon as Mike finished, I was gonna be like, all right, well, that's our show, guys. Thanks so much.
Because Braun Breaker is the perfect aspect of it. I haven't really seen too much of him on the mic yet, so I don't really know kind of where he is in that acumen. But in the ring, he's fantastic. He has the perfect look. And he's second generation wrestler, like just checking the things off that I said earlier. And I like, he worries me a little bit because I'm afraid they're going to push him down everyone's throat. And if they do it the wrong way, they're going to rebel against him. And then we're going to be in the same situation we were with Roman Reigns. We're going to be in the same position that we were with The Rock. And before they became the next generation of people.
See, I'm again, I'm going to agree with everything Showtime said on this one. And since Braun Breaker was going to be my example of what the perfect superstar is supposed to be right now. Jerk. But the one thing I will say is I heard a rumor, and again, this is a rumor, I haven't confirmed it with the person himself, that they're going to be bringing Corbin back up to SmackDown with Braun Breaker to continue that tag team. And if they do that, honestly, I think that's the perfect slow roll to get Braun up to speed. Not that I don't think he's up to speed as far as his in-ring. Not that I don't even think I've seen his promos. He does a nice combination of his father and his uncle. So I think that's like, he has a little bit of that craziness, but also it's that toned down, like, hey, I know my father and my uncle were absolute nut jobs. With that said, I'm a little bit of a nut job. I'm not their nut job. It's kind of like when the Usos first came in and like, we're like, yeah, we're Samoan, but we're not the Samoans that you're used to. Like, we're wearing nice clothes. Like, we don't have to talk about being savages. Like, we dress in the style that we dress in, and we wear hood stuff, but like, yeah, but that's because that's where we grew up. We didn't grow up on the island. So I think that's kind of what Braun is doing right now. I think the promo is very important, as always. If we're just breaking down the aspects of it, it's a certain, again, I know it's always we always say it's the intangible. It's the it factor. Do you show up? I think Vince used to call it the airport test. If you're walking through the airport and you see somebody, like, oh, I don't know who that is, but that's somebody. I think that's as important of an aspect as anything else too, because the moment, like Showtime said, the moment is opportunity, right? Like, you get the opportunity to have that moment, but that's, a lot of people call it luck, but what's the line? Luck is just having preparation and opportunity meet at the same time. Like, that's kind of where that is. Stone Cold worked because Stone Cold was getting over as Stunning Steve Austin, and they didn't know how good they had it, so they let him go. And then they made the mistake of letting him become a Paul Heyman guy. And Heyman...
Well, they almost named him Chili Freeze or something dumb. Like, yeah, that almost happened. Let's not talk about it, but...
Luckily, he was smart enough to not do it, but they did name him the Ringmaster, and he's like, I'm not the Ringmaster. I'm not that guy, especially since I think he knew he had suffered a couple injuries along the way, and he wasn't going to be able to be the wrestler that he was anymore. That didn't stop him from being the biggest star in wrestling at the time. Again, The Rock's in-ring stuff, it's good. It's not great. He's not Bret Hart. He's not Shawn Michaels. Sometimes you can, where Showtime said that he builds up the wrestler to the in-ring to 99. I think if you build up the in-ring to 80, but your your star power is at 120, it almost balances it out. Cena's another prime example. A lot of the biggest stars in wrestling were never super, super great in the ring. They were good. I'm not taking that away from them. But we kind of zone in on like Cena's 5 moves of doom, even though he has 6 now.
Well, Showtime, I want to thank you for actually answering the question. Steve,
you're welcome.
F you for just naming other wrestlers who are cool. Thanks, bud.
You see how sad he was when I stole his thunder?
Oh my God, dude, you
so
took the life out of him to the point where he was like, now I just have to talk about other wrestlers because I have nothing. Thank you.
now I sit in the penalty box and I feel shame. But at least the Rangers are number 1.
First.
I love this.
Let's go Rangers.
All right, boys. Well, that was a great show. Can't wait for next week. We will be announcing probably next week what our bonus episode for the month is going to be, since we already did Mania for the end of last month. We'll figure out something for the end of this month, and we will have that all set up.
If you guys listening have any suggestions, send us suggestions for it too. We're definitely taking into consideration. info@stellalariat.com. Send them through, and if you have something good enough, we'll give you a shout out, and we'll do a whole 11-hour show around your
11 billion hours, actually.
Legionnaires, we effing love you.
We love you. Do. As always, check out all of our social media stuff. All the links will be in our descriptions. Scarps, Showtime, always a pleasure. Love you guys as much as I hate you guys. Legion, have a good night.
Later.